Hey guys, I hope you can see me well. So we're doing today a master class on energy healing. So I'm gonna be showing you a lot of stuff on energy healing, just seeing if you can see me fully on the camera. And you will learn a lot of stuff about the energy body that you haven't known yet. Which is some of it can be super powerful. Now you have to understand that most problems in the body, as the Chinese traditional medicine, but also the yoga medicine would agree on, comes from emotions and blocked energy channels. So we are going to look at it from a lot of modalities, a lot of angles. So the first thing you start with, then we talk us all about spiritual awakening and stuff and how it interconnects. But first we go into energy healing. So what you want to do first is stimulate your feet, so you're on ground, you're not using any shoes, and you're starting to stimulate the bottom of your feet. And the reason you're doing it is because you need that energy that starts from the bottom. It's like built like an energy pyramid. It comes from the bottom, it starts to go up, and then it becomes left and right, and it goes through your testicles or ovaries. And then it becomes into Ida and Pingala and starts to go, which are two of the three most important energy channels. And then it goes up here, passes the eye, left and right nostril, comes together also at the third eye, and then goes to the crown chakra. And that's the energy that comes from the bottom. There's also a subtle energy which comes from the top. Basically, for your vitality, for your energy level, you need this down here. So while you're listening to me, you can do this kind of like stimulating off your feet. I do something like this also, and side to side in circles, very qigong like. You can breathe into it, like imagine like there's a bubble opening up as you breathe down there, and it's super super important. This is actually one of the most important exercises because it starts to load your energy system with vitality, especially in the root chakra, because the feet are connected also to the root chakra. You also have chakras everywhere also at the feet, but it starts to load your root chakra the more you do it. And especially for people who don't feel secure and so forth, or that have a lot of fatigue, you need to do this exercise. Fatigue is always related to the root chakra, always. If you have fatigue, there's something wrong in the root chakra. So, and then as the root chakra starts to load up, you start to feel a bit more strength. Then the energy trickles down to sacral chakra, where you start to feel sexuality and joy. Trickles down upwards toward the solar plexus, where you feel ego, willpower, identity, acceptance, and so forth. And then it goes even higher, which is into the heart chakra, which is basically love, throat chakra, communication, third eye, telepathy, clairvoyance, and so forth, intuition. But it's a different intuition. I'm going to speak about that. Then you have the crown chakra, the personhood self. So the energy starts to trickle upwards. And if anywhere around this area there is an energy blockage because of an emotion, anger, and so forth, chi prana being the life force, stops to go into that area. And as it stops to go into that area, you develop disease. You can't develop disease somewhere where a lot of chi prana is flowing. Yeah. So you would actually have to do these exercises every day to keep the maximum amount of prana and chi in your system. Then the next thing is, as you then sit into silence, after all of these exercises, if you sit into silence, you start to open up the crown chakra, because you let go of the control in the solar plexus, the thinking, the thoughts, the control, Then you open up the crown chakra, and the energy flows down towards your heart, and this is what I then call the heart intuition. If you can follow the heart intuition, it's a very powerful, subtle way of moving through life. So, and when we are deeply in thoughts, we block this energy, this heart intuition. You have to be really like a soft, aware, silent being in order to activate it. Yeah, and you can feel like I have the blessing of being able to feel my energy channels, so I can literally like see the detailed way I need to move to open up my feet. There is a guy from the Quechua tribe in Peru. He also he wrote a small book and he traveled the world, and he has the suggestion of tapping your feet to the ground twice on the left, 3 times on the right to open these energy channels as well. Yeah, you can use a little bit of tapping. It does definitely help as well. Moves the whole leg. And these exercises, if you're into like hardcore fitness, these exercises seem superficially dumb, or too soft, but I'm telling you, that's why many athletes and so also become very sick and get cancer or whatnot, because they do some things wrong in life. And one of these things is hardcore fitness is not a healthy thing. It appears to be a healthy thing, but it's not. There's a massive mistake understanding that, because you're drawing chi and prana into parts of your body that are then lacking in others, and you are stressing your body out of some kind of dogmatic or religious kind of like fanaticism on sports or something, be it bodybuilding, be it, athletic running, whatever. That's why they also all of them look older. I get constantly guessed 10 to 15 years younger because I'm not using up my energy that way. There was even a woman who became super old, and she said the most important thing that she was doing is sleeping as much as she can. So it's not always that you have to do sports. And the people in these blue zones, they usually never do hardcore sports. They only move about a lot, like this fluid type of movement. That's why I also dance like that. Some people probably, when they see me dancing, they're like, what's going on with him? I'm actually freeing. It's like a type of qigong for me. I'm freeing all of my energies doing that. And you can do that too. I think it's a good way to start, actually. Just intuitive movement. Try to be flexible with your spine. In the beginning, it might not be easy because you've been too rigid maybe for a while. Just keep on doing that. And try to get away from the performative thing, because we're talking literally just about health and feeling good and higher harmony. There is literally no reason for anything else. And the interesting thing, as you let go and do this intuitively, your energy start open up more and more. So, and now we can keep on doing that, but we're gonna go into the next exercise, which is bija mantras. And if you've never done bija mantras, I suggest you put your hands out, go lum, because then you're gonna feel the vibration of it in your hands, and you're gonna understand how much it actually vibrates. So you go like lum, lam, lum, and you can rock a little bit back and forth. Lum, lum, Now, this lam is for the root chakra. You can also imagine as you breathe in that red energy expands everywhere from your root chakra, from the perineum. Lam, lam. And you can do that as much as you want. If you feel there's a blockage there, feel free to do it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Then we're going to go to sacral chakra, which is vam. 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 Then ram for solar plexus. Ram. Ram. Heart chakra, yam. Yam. Throat is hum. Hum. For the throat, I suggest like a hum, not a hum, but a hum. 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 By the way, you don't have to have that pitch. You can choose your pitch. You can also try with going higher and lower, see what it does with your energy body. As you keep on doing that, you will start to feel softer. Lum, bum, rum, yum, hum. Then we go to aum, A-U-M. Aum, third eye. Then the crown chakra, ong. Ong, 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 ong. And then aung. Aung, 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 aung. Okay, that's a good one. Then we're gonna go into tapping. Tapping is extremely powerful, and there's two types of tappings: the physical tapping, the visualized tapping, and you also has EFT, emotional freedom technique, which I showed in a different video, so I'm not gonna show it here much. I did miss in the emotional freedom technique this point here. So it's in between like these. You do the karate point, and you do also this point between the two fingers here. But it's not a big thing, so I missed that in the other video. So I'm going to show you tapping. So for example, in the liver, so okay, if you have a physical, before I go into tapping, if you have a physical problem, let's say you have a problem with your stomach or your liver or your spleen, anywhere here, then, by the way, because I don't know if it's reflected correctly, liver right side under your ribs, gallbladder as well, spleen left side, okay, stomach in the middle here. So basically, if you have anywhere problems, like anywhere in the body, let's say throat or something, look which chakra is the closest. So if, for example, you have problems with the liver, the closest chakra is the solar plexus. That means the solar plexus is not being able to sufficiently send energy there because you have this blockage. And liver has to do with anger. Anger, for example, or non-acceptance is connected with the solar plexus because each chakra has like emotional connections. You can look them up fairly easily looking in Google. So for example, solar plexus has to do with accepting, not accepting, ego, willpower, identity, those kind of things. So for example, if something happens to you and you make it strongly about you, this happened to me, this is what happened to me, then you are going to create a lot of anger, okay? And this energy, which comes usually from the masculine side on the right side, because the right side, Pingala energy, Pingala Nadi, the energy channel, is the masculine side, Ida Nadi, left side energy channel is the feminine side. Here represented by the sun, this represented by the moon. If you put in like Kundalini or Caduceus, kind of like Kundalini chakras thing, and then you will get images in Google showing you exactly that. So as the heated energy goes up, creates anger and gets stuck here, the liver gets impacted. And if you have anger, you should be tapping the liver, okay? And it's gonna make you release that anger. And now we're gonna go into deeper how this really works. So there is an emotion somewhere stored. You look at which chakra it is close to. You start the tapping. Okay, I'm gonna go more into detail of the tapping a little bit later, but now we'll just do the tapping, for example, on the anger. And you can move around the tapping a little bit. And what happens is the tapping starts to open everything as an energy cloud. I call this the energy cloud. It's basically the emotion starts to open up. It starts to go from a compact emotion to a wide emotion, and thereby it becomes lighter. Doesn't become so dense anymore. The energy gets released from the tissue and or from the energy body, and then it connects to the nadi, which is the most prominent being Pingala, Sushumna, Ida. It connects to the Pingala nadi and starts to rise, and thereby it passes the eyes. And here comes the thing that a lot of people don't know. Crying is nothing else than the energy cloud that has been released somewhere in the lower body connects with the elevator of that nadi, starts to rise and wants to be released through the eyes. And you can actually enforce that even stronger through what I call nadi breathing. Is that you imagine that, for example, between your liver or wherever your problem is, you breathe between here and the eyes back and forth. If it's a long channel, you can start somewhere like in between 2 points. For example, if you have a problem here at the leg, you can like breathe back and forth here, and then you become longer and longer and longer until you reach the eyes. So the crying is nothing else than the body's ability to take out that emotional garbage, and you have to let yourself allow to cry. Otherwise, you're not taking out the garbage. And I suggest highly to drink like good water before a session, maybe like half a liter of water, maybe infused a little bit with something like lemon or something, and then do uh, then do these bija mantras, and then start going to tapping, because then you're giving, maybe even with electrolytes, because then you're giving the body the option to transport everything even better outside. It doesn't feel stressed in the body because they have so much liquid. Um, And as you start to tap something, you might feel a little bit like disconnecting to the ground, because you will see it's like that nadi or meridian, whatever you want to call that, this energy channel starts to get activated. So you will feel a bit more heat maybe there, etc. Because it's been clogged. These are like pipes that have been clogged, the nadis, energy channels. And nowadays, if you deal with toxic people, and you have to watch my video on toxic metaframing to understand it, if you deal with toxic metaframers or narcissists, etc., which the life in society is full of right now, because everybody's libido suppressed, everybody's not living in their joy, then you start to develop anger in your system. And that anger creates a lot of problems in your intestines and the liver, detox, everything is not working. So uh, the less you actually deal with people, the healthier you are. Because people nowadays, they feel like they're so obligated to be in social settings and so forth, and they mix their energies with others, not realizing that they're basically um, creating potential problems in their energy system. And then once you get them, it can be years and years to get them out if you don't know the modalities, if you don't know how to do it, etc. And you can tap all along like this area. And then also sometimes, like between the ribs, you can do like a little acupressure and massage here. And frustration is also stored in this area. And that also then comes over to the diaphragm. So you start to have problems with the acid and everything. So that's why people who have a lot of anger stored, with a lot of stress, start to have acid problems. And you oftentimes you don't even need an operation unless it's already very late. But if you have these like esophagus sphincter problems or so, you just need to release all these emotions and then give it a couple of months. Like keep releasing those emotions, give it a couple of months, and the body will start to heal itself. So the tapping, there's a second type of tapping, which is visualized tapping. It's basically instead of physically tapping, you imagine that you tap by imagine like you have an energy healing hand that is just entering into your body and tapping inside of your body. Just visualizing that. And if you're a person who likes to visualize, then try that because it's extremely powerful as well if you get used to it. And in Qigong, so a lot of things in Qigong are pretty good. In Qigong, they also do this kind of tapping. So they do this tapping daily. I think if you daily do the tapping, you're also going to feel much, much better. So you can, if you put in YouTube or Google, you put in like Qigong tapping, that's a good start. But the tapping that I'm talking about is similar, but it's more like one point for a specific ailment you have. And then you stick to it until the emotion gets released. And sometimes it can take like half an hour of tapping or 1 hour of tapping. I once had frustration in the liver. It took me 2 hours to tap to get it out and to start crying. But that was accumulated frustration of over 10, 15 years. But no doctor could help me. I had lots of scans and I don't know what MRIs and CTs and I don't know what stomach tests, whatever. And no one could help me. No one could figure out what's going on. But the pain was like at a 10/10 out of times. And it turns out that was just, the anger that I needed to release. And you must be careful because if you allow toxic people in your life, you're going to redevelop that anger. And so often unconsciously, you don't even realize it. Especially for women and men, it can be very strong. But for men, I sometimes believe that men live shorter lives because they have more of this fire energy on the Pingala side, and they don't know how to manage it. And they try to appease to the woman and basically martyr themselves for the women. You see, for example, if they do like crazy sports like adrenaline, dangerous sports, or motorbikes or whatever, it's usually because they want to appeal to women. And even if they say they don't. And this comes all from that right side Pingala energy, which then goes to the sacral chakra, develops sexual hierarchy and everything. So I understand these topics very deep. I'm just like some things I'm just gonna surface level like mention, but because it would be just way too long to explain everything. But most people operate only through survival and sexual procreation. They're not operating from a very conscious level, and most of the things are not on a high level, high frequency. They're mostly in the first 2 or 3 chakras. And with a lot of these energy exercises, and you start and letting go, you start to develop the higher chakras as well. The mantras are very good. The bija mantras are very good for that. The lam vam ram yam ham omang, because a lot of people are not able to let go of their thoughts, and the bija mantras are one way to literally have at least a minute or so of pure silence if they've never had it before. It helps also with depression and so forth. Now, another good exercise is if you imagine that there's energy above your head, and you draw it slowly over your spine to the bottom and up again, because that sends the higher frequencies into your whole body. Then it's not just lower frequencies and like earthly vitality, but it also sends that healing energy throughout your whole body. That's why people call it also speaking to angels or something, or getting guided or healed by angels, because you're literally pulling that high frequency into your body and letting that work itself. Because most of the time, for a lot of people, because they think so much, the active consciousness over here is blocked. Every thought is a blockage, actually. This is not easy to grasp in the beginning, but every single thought is actually a blockage. And the more energy you give to it, the more you block on this level. And so you basically, a lot of people they're not only blocked because they are not rooted, but they're also blocked because they think so much. So the lowest part and this part is blocked, and so no energy is coming down. So they're not flooding, they're blocking the high frequency from entering their body and telling them what to do. That's why they congregate in cities. That's why they're in concrete structures sitting there all day in an office, because it's literally they're blocked from both of these energies. So they're not seeing what they're doing. Lum, bum, rum, yum, hum, mum. Now, I've done over 1,000 tantra massages with women, and a lot of them. If you think about the number just itself, it's like a lot. So I understand energy bodies, I understand the nadis, I feel the blockages, I can release the blockages. And so I have a very good, detailed understanding of everything connects. And sometimes you need. That's why I was in tantra, because sometimes you need the strong energy that's built up in tantra to pump through the nadis. Especially if the person mm, who is doing it is, and if it's all done from the right intention, the right space, and so forth, it can be very, very, very powerful. Uh, but there's many modalities and many ways to go about it, especially if you have your own, like I'm teaching right now, then you don't even need help from the outside on most of these things, if you do it correctly. It's good to learn about reflexology, which is basically how the organs are connected to your feet, and all the bodies connected to your feet, and looking at it several times to just understand how it's all connected. Sometimes it's funny, like when you speak to people, they don't even know where the liver is, where the ascending transverse, descending colon, sigmoid colon is. It's super funny if you think about it. Like, people don't even know how their own body is structured and works. And it's also good to study that a little bit, just to have an idea of, like, when I speak about the liver, where exactly is it, and so forth. And there's nothing more important. If your body is more or less functioning, then there's nothing more important than the liver, because it literally detoxes your whole body. And it's the only organ that's actually regenerative. It can regrow itself. Now, with breathing is really important, the way you breathe, and you really want to have like this full body breath. Oh yeah, and now I'm gonna share one more thing. I have to look that I don't forget anything, but there's gonna be, I'll probably like forget 10, 5, 6, 7 things in this video, but there's another very good trick. So when you breathe in, arch your back and don't breathe out. Look a little bit up, not much, and then just hold it. And then hold it as long as you can, and then slowly collapse. The hip goes forward, you fall a bit down like this, and you do it again. Hold. This is actually one of the most powerful exercises you can do. And you can do it several times, especially in the morning when you get up. Because what happens is, a lot of stored energy is down here in this area, in the sacral chakra area. And as you arch your back down there, You can also go a little bit into your knees and hold it. All that energy is starting to open up and rise up. I've shown this to a woman at a festival right now who had a clogged nose. She wasn't feeling so well, and I showed it to her, and it literally started to open up all these energy channels, especially if you have clogged sinuses, sinus cavities. I mean, if yeah. So the nose, the cavities, it will start to fill this area with chi and prana, with warm energy. If you don't feel it yet, just do it a little bit longer. You can support it also with a little bit of ginger, like drinking ginger water. It always works. It always works. You also want to do like these type of exercises, very similar to qigong, the rotation exercises, but you can do them intuitively. You don't have to go by like a super strict thing. Just try to feel into like what. And usually this happens when you start to do this. It's because you're noticing. This is super interesting. So when you've done these exercises for a while, you start to feel a bit more energy in the legs. You feel like a little bit restless. You could go like running. Notice that, because that actually means vitality is starting to build. You feel like, whoa. I'm starting to feel it now a little bit. Kind of like the yeah. And it's the lethargy in the morning, which you maybe sometimes have or something, it's completely gone because you open up all these energy channels. And this is actually the root. Understanding this is the root of all the breatharians and all of these things. The idea that you don't need as much food, you don't need as much water to survive, all these stuff. Sometimes even not having to eat at all, because literally that energy supplies you with that vitality all the time. So you literally feel like you need less and less of everything else, because you're sucking prana from this energy field rather from the food and the water. So yeah, and then if you start to feel that energy, okay, but doing these exercises, you can start to also do this, rock back and forth, also like this, hold, arch, and let go. So in this position, starts to build a lot of vitality. And here's the thing, none of it needs eradicate fast movement. It just needs the slow opening of energy channels. You don't even need asanas. That's the thing. You don't even need yoga exercises necessarily. They're very similar to yoga exercises, but if you do it intuitively, you can, for example, go like this. Breathe into it. And now I want to go into something which is called aura surgery. I call it aura surgery. It's basically like Reiki on yourself. I'm going to put the mic aside, but you're going to understand it as me moving with my hands, moving the cloud of my energy body. You can do it all over the body, over the top of your head, everywhere. And I'll just use one hand. You can imagine that I'm using two. It's going to be better. Can I have the mic right here? So you're moving like this. And imagine you're like painting on top of your aura, of your energy body. Your liver, your stomach. It stimulates your whole energy body. Don't go too fast because you don't want to deplete that energy. By the way, this is something super important, which I forgot to mention, is as you're doing these exercises, that's why you're not doing sports in this sense or aerobics, because when you do these exercises, you're depleting your energy. When you're doing the exercises the way I show it, you're building energy. It's a huge difference. It's kind of like, imagine like you have a battery and there's an input and output through that battery, and you're like gauging it, so you're actually more building it than like charging it rather than depleting it. And if I go run like crazy, I'm actually depleting, and then I have normal shoes on and everything, I'm actually depleting my energy. That's why runners look 10, 20, 30 years older than they are, because they're literally depleting their energy, not realizing it. So you want to, I mean, if people guess me 10 to 15 years younger, sometimes even more, that means I'm doing something right. And it has to do with the idea of actually building energy than depleting energy. And you can be like this all day long. You can be all day in charging modus. You just have to have the right movements, the right silence, the not have toxic people around you, no stress, and and those kind of movements that build energy. And then you can have super vitality. You don't need then all these supplements and all that shit. So you're probably not going to look like Tarzan or Hercules, but you don't need that. And letting go of needing to be desired by women or men in that regard is also a superpower, because a lot of people do this exactly for procreation, just ego kind of like um, acceptance. And slowly you will also start to notice, this takes weeks then, but you will start to slowly notice that health problems start to go away. The body, if you give it consistency in this regard, will need months, maybe 1 to 6 months to heal anything, but you have to stick with it. Like, you can move around like this, opening up the energy channels with the hands and over the head as well. My energy is so sensitive that when I do like this, I can literally feel how like I'm stimulating the crown chakra. Yeah. And as you start to build competence, you have to be a little bit careful, because there's so many people who don't have competence and no knowledge in this area. And if they have only half-assed knowledge or just a little bit of it, but they other parts of their life are completely messed up, it's gonna create it's going to deplete your energy. So you really have to be careful about this. Other there's I would say there's even more than toxic food. I feel toxic people are even worse for your life, because it's just a continuation of internal stress when you live with them or so. So let's go also into food a little bit. Like, it's very hard nowadays, but you should only eat organic food where you know it has much less pesticides and herbicides, because you're loading your body with constant stress. It needs to like get this stuff out. Some of it can't get out. Then there's haritaki, which is like this, and neem and turmeric. Well, especially neem and haritaki can help a lot. Then you have also wheatgrass, which has a lot of chlorophyll. You have chlorella, you have matcha, these kind of things. But you have to look a little bit at like what your energy system is like, because you have to like fine tune the food to your energy system. Because, for example, if your energy system is like mine, very, very sensitive, then even drinking coffee at 8 a.m., even if you like coffee, it's going to mess up the whole energy system. It's like alcohol. Then the alcohol also is toxic and messes up your energy system. So you don't want that. You got to be super careful. So if you're sensitive, you have to have sensitive food. Think about that. So, for example, super like spicy food. If you're sensitive, super like caffeinated food, you cannot have that. Sugar, you can't have that. It's just too much for the energy system. And by the way, all wheats All grains, especially wheat, but all grains are inflammatory. Most milk from cows and stuff is inflammatory. Cheese and stuff can be inflammatory. Sugar is inflammatory. Actually, sugar is one of the biggest problems ever. I know two guys who got aneurysm with around 50 years old because they drank Red Bull every day, and all that sugar is probably what caused the inflammation in the arteries, which then eventually made it rupture. Um, so yeah, and I think especially above 40 years old, but in general, you should be very mindful that every day that you're healthy is a gift, and you should use that energy with the energy exercises I'm giving you to like honor the fact that your mother had pain when she birthed you. That it was a massive sacrifice on your parents' part. It's honor that body, honor that. And now I'm coming into self-love. Following your highest harmony is actually self-love. How do you do this? Close your eyes and ask yourself, my energy body, what would give me right now, what would give me higher harmony? What would give me higher harmony right now? And let yourself fall into the question without looking for immediately for an answer. And at one point, you will feel that you have an answer, and it's just for right now. Like, what would give me higher harmony in my energy field in my body right now? And then just do it. And sometimes for me, I'll book a massage, I'll make myself a tea, I'll go to sleep. If let's say it's just during the day, but I feel like I'll just go to sleep if my body tells me to, and just follow your highest harmony, or just do a certain exercise that my body wants to have, or something like that. And we don't do this enough, and we should be doing it actually all day long, like following your highest harmony in your because your body is talking to you. And that act, the actual act on acting on your what you feel will be your highest harmony in this moment, is actually self-love. So it's just a continuation of following your highest harmony is actually what self-love is. And conversely, and this is the funny part, which most people don't realize, doing something which gives you disharmony in your energy body, whatever it is actually self-hate. So, are you self-hating or are you self-loving? Are you following your highest harmony or you're following disharmony? And sometimes something happens in life and you feel like you have to make a compromise with it and you go with it. You're actually committing self-hate. Think about that. So once that truly enters your brain, that you're committing self-hate, when you do this, when you're following disharmony, then you'll slowly stop to reevaluate every situation. Be like, close your eyes. What's my highest harmony right now? And then just follow that. And if you do that continuously as much as you can, then you are also at the same time not doing something good for your body, but you're also entering into a higher frequency, because self-love is one of the highest frequencies ever. You activate higher energies, higher frequency, you feel more congruent, you don't feel so sad anymore, not so much depression, not so much anxiety, etc., because you've been choosing actually what your body wants. And sometimes you have to let go of FOMO, like fear of missing out, or anything where you feel like, oh, I need to do this. And this is the compromise. You kind of like, you have to let go of something in order to follow your highest harmony. And notice what's a lot of people have this is, as soon as you decide for higher harmony, there's something pulling you in, like a belief system or something, that you need to follow the disharmony. And that incongruence, that energy push, the push pull that you feel towards doing something that's disharmonious, notice it. Notice it very clearly, because this is what's keeping you, become aware of it, because that's what's keeping you from truly following your highest harmony and loving yourself. So just saying love yourself, it's if people say that, it gives you no tools. I'm giving you here the exact tool on how to follow highest harmony and self-love every single moment, every single day, and it will definitely change your life. Like you will start to see toxic people around you, all kinds of things. You will start to recognize what serves you, what doesn't serve you, so forth. And here comes the thing. If you're still not able to do that, it's because there's too much fear lingering. And if there's so much fear, I recommend Vipassana, a Vipassana course, 5 days or 10 days or something like that, because it releases you from the fears, fears of following your self-love. That means just sitting in silence. Look up Vipassana. And then, of course, we come to spiritual awakening, which is the realization that you're not even the body, that you're not the thoughts, not the emotions, you're a consciousness in which everything else appears just randomly, seemingly, and temporarily. So the body appears temporarily in consciousness, in beingness. You are that beingness, and the body's just experienced in for a moment, and also the thoughts and emotions. Um, as you start to develop more sense for your body by doing these kinds of tappings and bija mantras, you can then also start moving like intuitively, very intuitively, and do the aura surgery where you with your hands you start to do your reiki on your own energy body. And for some people it's very weird in the beginning. For women it's a little bit easier. For men it's very weird because they don't feel manly doing that. And it's honestly, I understand the predicament, the dilemma, because actually what women want from you is unhealthy for us men. They want this kind of rigid, stoic kind of person. That's what they're attracted to, that what creates sexual tension and dominance. And usually narcissists deliver that, but it's actually not healthy for yourself. And you have to decide: do I follow what women want from me as a man, or do I follow what my higher harmony, what my self love is? And I've decided for the later. So you have to disconnect from that. So you're gonna be less attractive to women. That's a given because they just want that so much. Especially nowadays where there's a lot of consumerism of male energy. Um, and they have a different. I call this asymmetric dating market, basically where they have tremendous of amounts of choice. They're not gonna choose the man who goes like this. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna happen. And yeah, but you have to self-love, and that comes first before anything else. um yeah. And but I went through that experience as a man, because I've done healthy things for myself all my life. The way I express myself, the way I am, authentic and healthy. But I've noticed like women are always off put from it. Sometimes they might think I'm gay or something. And here's the thing: do you prefer for like one sexual encounter to be like the martyr of your own energy? And but a lot of men don't realize that actually what they're doing to their body, the way they are doing it, is actually unhealthy. It always works out until they're like 30 years old, 35 years, and then slowly the body needs a different way of movement and being. Um, yeah, so let me see if there's something else on energy healing. Mm, I have to say good morning to the woman who is owning this place. She's coming across right now. This is one of my most favorite stretches. Good morning. She's such a nice woman, honestly. When you look at her, she's Dutch, and you're afraid, kind of like, if she pulls out her Dutch, way of being, and now as a Czech, it's like a little bit incongruent usually to Dutch people, and then she has like this softness to her, and you're like, okay. It's like physically she seems harsher, almost like a teacher, and then when you talk to her, she's so soft. I also like these kind of exercises from yoga. Um, those I do a little bit later then as well, which are when I start to feel the energy starting to activate. And then sometimes I do feel a little bit power. Once that power becomes stronger, oh, here's the thing. When Ida and Pingala balance each other nicely, all the energy channels open up and they balance each other nicely, then a lot of power comes suddenly. It goes like, whoa. You start to be like a, like a, like, whoa. It can, if you keep doing these exercises and then suddenly you feel this rush of energy. Even when you're like over 40 years old, you'll be like, whoa. And this is actually the goal, where the vitality is so crazy that it literally boosts your all energy body. Yeah, and then then you after that you can like do a little bit of more like strength exercise, just get that energy out a little bit if your battery is charged a lot, and then you just sit in silence, and you sit at least 15 minutes in silence, maybe with Gyan Mudra, which is like a mudra, this very well-known mudra, and in 15 minutes complete silence, your energy body opens up fully. Needs about 15 minutes complete silence, then all that energy field opens up, and then you can receive the heart intuition, the energy from the top. I actually don't recommend strict yoga because I feel it's energy depleting, to be quite honest. If you do a full set of don't you notice how you come from a yoga class and you don't feel built up, but you feel like depleted of energy? That's not a good sign, actually. It's like Sadhguru said one interesting thing. You eat the right thing or eat the wrong thing by how tired you feel after you eat. If you feel tired, it's not the right thing to eat. And the same goes with the sports. Everything that you do, be it in the train, in the bus, at work, in the city, whatever you do, if you feel tired as you do it, it's actually draining. It's not building. And we have a misconception. We feel that during the day, everything that should be happening should be draining. And then we recover at night. This is a wrong assumption. Actually, whatever you're doing during the day should be energy building. And think of it like differently. Think of it like everything during the day that you do should be energy building. And when you go to sleep at night, it should allow that energy, because as the body relaxes at night, the chi can flow everywhere. Then actually that build up energy allows you to flow that chi everywhere. And now we go also into no fab, meaning no masturbation. I personally don't masturbate. I don't watch porn. I don't watch movies at all. I don't read, and I keep all that energy to myself. I keep it all for the energy body. And reading is actually super draining on the energy body, and porn and masturbation as well. I don't even do edging, which people call like edging or boon gooning or something like that. I don't even do that. It's I leave that area alone. The maximum I do might be tapping, and just stimulate it with exercises that I do. Now, breathing. I mean, there's lots of tricks to breathing. I think that would completely make it even more complicated, because I think sometimes it's just even an art rather than a strict routine. Like knowing how to breathe, when to breathe. It's like For example, sometimes I breathe in very slowly, and then ujjayi type of breathing outward. Um, it's it just depends on the situation, like what I'm doing. But basically, uh, holding breath is always good, whether it's while when you breathe in or when you breathe out. So you breathe out and you keep it empty for a while. Push in the stomach and upward. But I also don't overdo it. I don't think that's the point. Um, so literally, you want to you everything you do is charging the battery, not depleting it. That means you don't need to overextend yourself in a certain area. You just give it a lot of time, a lot of consciousness, a lot of awareness, a lot of intuition. Oh yeah, energy rotation. This is one of the most powerful exercises I know. A lot of these exercises I discovered or invented. It's not something that I read somewhere. Energy rotation is, imagine that a hand enters your energy body and from the bottom, like into through your perineum, and it starts to rotate like this. And so you visualize how it rotates from the center, this energy healing hand. And you do it through all the chakras. You start at the bottom chakra and you start to imagine how it rotates from the center. And it will create, if you have anywhere along this spine, you have a sense of blockage there, is going to get released. There's going to be a lot of crying. And it really, really, really works. It's really good. I'm not going to explain exactly how it works, why. I know why, but just imagine like you're rotating this imaginary healing hand inside of you from the center, rotating like this horizontally. It's very, very powerful. I'm actually going to do it now. Then, and then here comes a very hardcore Kundalini type thing. Imagine that now that you've built all of this energy, okay, that all that energy starts to congregate, starts to come together in the center of your spine, like your Sushumna channel. It's exactly in the center of your spine. It's not exactly in the center, but I'm just going to say for simplification, it's like you're going to imagine that all, and you're going to feel that every part of your spine up to your crown chakra, the whole part from the bottom, from the coccyx to to the top, that, and you feel into it with the intention and with the affirmation, I'm collecting all of that energy now in my spine. Because there's something super interesting that I noticed. Unconsciously, we push away this energy from the spine. We continuously push this energy away from the spine, and thereby we lose vitality and power. So what you want to do is recollect that energy. Just imagine doing it, visualizing it, and putting it back into the spine. It's all coming slowly together back into the spine. And it's activating your whole Kundalini energy. And try to visualize, try to feel your entire spine and how that energy is building up to the third eye and crown chakra. And it starts to give you tremendous amounts of power, because for some reason, and I think it has to do with fear and nervous system, we push out that energy all the time. So energy builds. That's, for example, when you masturbate, that energy builds up here and you want to put it out. But energy builds up here, you want to put it out. Energy builds up here, you want to put it out. Instead, and so we constantly push that energy outward rather than keeping it for ourselves in the spine for vitality. And that's also massive, massive, massive change. It's literally like you're the master of your own Kundalini awakening, or activation, it's better called. Yeah. You don't need anyone else from the outside. This is, once you understand these modalities, you realize you don't need anyone from outside. Because a lot of times it's women, some men, they offer all these exercises, like from breath work to Kundalini activation, all of that stuff, but they have like half-assed knowledge about it. They don't really have competence, but they have this massive arrogance. So, for example, I met one woman, Kundalini Algarve. She thinks she's like, I don't know what, does a lot of commercials. advertising. She buys a lot of advertising. Then she makes the session way too expensive. I'm hypersensitive. I didn't feel shit in her session. Like if I had felt like a little bit, even I would have been like, okay, I trust her. But it was nothing, and the music was way too loud. It was obnoxious, all of that stuff. It was super annoying, and it just didn't feel congruent, and it was definitely a wasted 60 euros. And there were 8 people in there paying 60 euros, so she was making a lot of money with that, but she wasn't really giving anything. And a lot of it is it then placebo, where women start crying because their energy system has been loaded so much, and it's not really a safe space. It's just that if you come, for example, a lot of women come to the Algarve with heartbreak, like to Portugal with tremendous heartbreak. So they're like 29 years old, 35 years old. They have some heartbreak in their home country. They come down here, and they're trying to release it somehow, trying to fix it somehow, and so any kind of session which seems like a safe space will make the catharsis come out because they just need it at that moment in time without necessarily the instructor or facilitator being super competent. Um, yeah, so I prefer the self-empowerment route where you can do a lot of things for yourself. And by the way, sitting alone in silence or in vipassana is one way to release a lot of these emotions. And the energy rotation. So sometimes it's just good to sit down, let's say, in like this here, for example, and then do the energy rotation inside of yourself. Very, very powerful. Um, I also recommend a lot to listen to spiritual awakening teachers like Muji, Eckhart Tolle, and so forth. Maybe Rupat Spira, Papaji, because you will start to recognize that if you identify too much with the body and the emotions, they'll start resurfacing and coming up all the time again. You have to let go of the identity that actually clutches to that story. And that's only doable with spiritual awakening. The realization you're not your body, your consciousness, beingness itself. So that's super, super important. Let me see. So we have over 1 hour masterclass already. Let me see what else is there. So yeah, once you started to activate your energies like that, feel free to do all kinds of exercises that feel like you're moving that energy around. Some of it can be like asana related or something, but it doesn't have to be strict. It should be playful and fun. Sometimes also like tactile things like or haptic, this kind of. Oh, this is actually pretty good, yeah. And we don't play enough with the body and allow ourselves. What you're trying to do with this, it has a purpose. It's like you're trying to move the loaded prana, the loaded chi, throughout your entire body, so it can flow everywhere. And if you do this daily, I'm 100% sure if you all the energy exercise that I gave you now, if you do them daily, you're going to get healed from whatever. If you do them daily, for half an hour to an hour, and you don't add toxicity or discharging of your energy system, you're going to get healed 100%. Oh, there's something more. If you have problems with your gut, your microbiome, it's because your root chakra and your sacral chakra are blocked in your solar plexus. When these are fully open and working, the microbiome, everything corrects itself, 100%. No doubt for me. Spine problems also mostly emotional energy blockages. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Let me just see if there's one more thing that I want to share, because I'm sure there's like 100 things more. You can also tap your head to open up crown chakra and other areas. Sometimes this funny thing is like when you do all of this, like the tapping everywhere here and so forth, sometimes you forget the head. And then if I remember there's sometimes when I tap here, then I can sense an emotion. Oh, okay, I'll give you one more trick on tapping. So you tap like randomly, and sometimes you feel something somewhere. You can't really say what it is, but you feel like a little bit more like there's maybe more emotion there, or maybe sensitivity, or more maybe more tension or something. And you keep on tapping on that point where you feel that little bit difference. And if you're long enough there, the emotion gets released. And sometimes, surprisingly, it's around the head as well, which is very interesting. So you do everything down here, but you forget the head. Okay, and my highest harmony right now is, let's do self-love right now. Close your eyes. Feel into your energy field. What would give me highest harmony right now? I think doing a little bit of lying down exercises. So I hope you liked this session so far.